What's the first thing you do when your paycheck hits? If you're like most people, you probably spend it. And then a few weeks later, you're sitting there and you're like, oh my God, where did all my money go? And here's the truth. The first 30 minutes after you getting paid will determine whether you build wealth or stay stuck. It's really that simple, 30 minutes. And if you're a high earner, this matters even more because you don't have an income problem, you have a money system problem. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact 5-step payday system that I use to help me pay off $43,000 of debt and turn that into a net worth of multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. Step 1, we need to lock in our baseline. So before you spend any dollar, you need to know your number, your baseline number. This is the amount of money that you physically need every single month to survive. I'm talking the roof over your head, utilities, any insurances, groceries. That's it. Nothing extra, the essential items. Because here's what happens. When your paycheck hits your account, it feels like you're rich. It feels like you have a lot of money, right? This is called the illusion of wealth. And if you have a regular 9-to-5 job like I do, every 2 weeks this happens. You have this illusion of wealth. You have this income stream populating your bank account, right? But once the bills hit, it disappears really fast. So here's what I want you to do. Go back to your last 3 months of your spending and calculate what your baseline is. This is called the 3-month look back. So you take the last 3 months, you see where have I spent all my money, categorize it between here's the super important stuff, here's the not so super important stuff, and then ask yourself what percentage of my income is this, right? So if you make $10,000 and your super important high need items total $5,000, that's 50% of your income, right? Ideally, we want this to be around that percentage. If you go by the pretty common budgeting concept of 50, 30, 20. So 50 being the need items, 30 being the want items, and 20 being the financial goals. Because if you know this number, every dollar feels like it's available to spend, which is pretty cool. Step 2, we need to protect ourselves. So what do I mean by this? Before you invest, before you try to grow your money, we need to protect it because life hits hard. Everyone always says, oh, unexpected expenses. I think at this point, we just need to call them expected things that come up or something. It's like there's always an unexpected expense. It's just always something different, right? So we shouldn't be surprised anymore about, car repairs or medical issues or job issues. I mean, we should just realize that this is going to be the norm. So unfortunately, most people in the United States just go right into debt when this happens. Most people do not have $1,000 in their bank account if they were to have a $1,000 emergency come up. That's like average. 50% of the country doesn't even have that in their bank account if that were to happen. So the first thing we should do is build a small or a 1-month emergency fund buffer. And this is your quick solution. And it basically just funds any sort of challenges that come up. That way we can make forward progress instead of always having to take 2 steps forward and then you have to take a month back and then 2 steps forward and then month back because all these unexpected expense happening and you're just not gaining any sort of momentum, right? So you could keep it in a separate savings account. You can open a high yield savings account. You could just keep it somewhere so it's kind of separate from your day-to-day transactions because if it is easy to access, you will probably spend it. This is talking from personal experience here. Like if it's there, you're going to spend it. So this is the key. And it's not about how to optimize this money. This is not about optimization. Right now, this is stability mode. This is survival mode. So we don't care about, putting it in something that's going, oh, what's the biggest high yield, return of a savings account? Who cares? We're trying to survive here. Just put it in somewhere that you're not going to see it or not going to want to access to it. And this is really just having your peace of mind. And if you're really stuck in that paycheck to paycheck grind, like you make more money than most people and you're still like, why do I feel stuck every single month at the end of the month? I've recently opened up some spots in my 6-week 1K challenge where I'm going to be hands-on with you, helping you find $1,000 that's hidden in your finances currently. It's there. And we're going to unlock it in just 6 weeks. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you've never saved $1,000 before, or you want to save your next $1,000 faster than you've ever done it before, let the 6-week challenge be the thing to start your personal finance gaining momentum. There's a video down below this video, and there's more information in that if you're interested. Step 3, and this one is pretty important to me. This is how I was able to go on my journey of paying off a bunch of debt. We got to kill the high interest debt. This is the biggest wealth generating move that anyone can do, because many people out there have debts that are very high interest. Raise your hand in the audience right now if you have a debt that's higher than 20%, right? That's a lot. And I'm talking credit card loans or personal loans. This is really anything above like, I don't know, 8 or 10%. I would consider like a high interest debt. These need to go. And this is like a guaranteed return on our money. Because if we think about it, if we do like the interest rate math, everyone loves the idea of compounding interest, right? It's the eighth wonder of the world. That's what everyone says. It's super fun. It's super sexy. But what we forget to realize is the negative aspect of that. We only think of the positive, where it's like, oh, investing. Oh, the S&P 500, this is all great. But if you have a 20% interest rate on a debt, you're going to get more bang for your buck in paying that off first than getting the 10% in the stock market, right? Because it's just simple math. So what I recommend people do is look at the interest rate math, because it's going to be the clearest path into how do I build wealth. Because sometimes just an extra $200,000, $500,000 a month towards a debt, it's going to be paying it off so much faster. You're going to save so much money on interest rates, and you're going to be saving a lot of months and years of being in stress. When I paid off $43,000 of debt, my wife and we did it in 13 months. I wasn't calculating this back then. I wasn't, creating content like I am now around it, but like I probably saved tens of thousands of dollars in interest in doing that, and saved us a lot of stress and years of being in debt. Now we are not in debt except for our mortgage, and it's very freeing, and we're able to put that money that we've essentially been putting towards the debt, this was years ago, and we're putting it towards wealth generating activities, right? Two things between debt and investing, paying off debt or investing. What do? The investing side, there's always a risk to it, because like investing, there's always a risk. Like people, like over a long enough time horizon, the stock market has gone up 10, 12%, right? Whatever that number is. But there's really no risk in paying off your debt. Like it's not like, if you don't pay it off, your interest rate could go lower or higher or whatever. Like there's no risks to paying it off. There's only really upside. I guess the risk is opportunity cost. If you were able to find a better vessel for your money than, say, if you have a 20% high interest credit card, if you're able to find a higher, wealth generating asset than 20%, then maybe it is a missed opportunity. But most people aren't skilled enough to do that, including myself. So just pay off the thing. Just do the interest rate math. Step 4, this is where we want to automate and invest. This is where most people mess up, and they rely on discipline. But we don't need more discipline. We need automation. So what really helped my wife and I on our journey was every time we got paid, we instantly moved money from our paychecks to another account. It was out of sight, out of mind. This is called paying yourself first. And the concept is really, if you think about the needs and the wants, like we discussed earlier in this video, if we look at the 50, 30, 20 as an example, the reason why most people don't put money towards financial goals, because they would look at that 50, 30, 20 of need, want, financial goals, and that's the order that they prioritize their lives in. So they're like, okay, I got my needs covered. I know how much my rent or mortgage is. I know like my utilities. I know all this stuff. Okay, want items. Yeah, let's go have fun. We'll buy the stuff. We'll go on Amazon. We'll get Chipotle. We'll do all this stuff. And then at the end of the month, whatever's left over, I'm going to be putting towards, the next, financial goal that I'm planning. And then the end of the month happens and you're like, holy crap, where did all my money go? It's like, okay, no. I'll do it again next month. We'll get back to it. I'm definitely going to do the financial goals thing next month. And it becomes this vicious cycle of like, oh my God, I'm not putting any money to my financial goals. So we have to slot the financial goals ahead of the want items. So instead of 50, 30, 20, I really like to tell people 50, 20, 30. That way the prioritization is different. And the money, if we don't have any money left over at the end of the month, we're taking it from the want items, not the financial goals. And that can be a tough trade-off for people. So if you're not close to 20%, and 20% sounds very significant, if you're at 0, how do you get to 5? If you're at 5, how can you get to 10? If you're at 10, how can you get to 12 or 15%, right? That's the incremental steps that we need to take during this process. So start with things like, something simple is like an employee match at your work. So if you have a 401k account through your work, a lot of people do. Most, companies have a match where if you do 2%, we will match you, right? And it's like kind of free money at the end of the day. So other things like 401k accounts or Roth IRAs or just simple index funds are something that I recommend. Just keep it boring, keep it consistent. In my, I guess I'll call it a portfolio to sound fancy. I don't have any, anything sexy. I just have like boring, silly index funds that have gotten me on any years, like, 5 to 20% returns every single year. It's just very consistent. And even this year, Q1 of 2026, the stock market was down and my accounts were up. So I don't really know it's like, I'm not an expert here. I'm just following the plan, keeping it boring, keeping it consistent. And that's how real wealth is built. Step 5, and this is where we need to step on the gas a little bit and build wealth faster. And this is really where high earners win, because if you make over, say, $100,000 and you had a bunch of debt and then you paid it off and then you rolled that money into other wealth generating activities, that's going to absolutely escalate this whole process. So when I was paying off the $43,000 worth of debt, towards the end of that 13 months, we were paying almost like $2,000 a month towards our debt, something crazy like that, maybe even more. And then as soon as that debt was paid off, we put that money, rolled it into like a deposit for our son's 529 education savings plan. And then once that was like kind of fulfilled to start, we just pushed it into wealth generating activities. And that like 2 to 3 year time frame of being in debt, paying it off, and then putting like thousands of dollars a month towards building our wealth was the thing. Now we have 2 kids and the expenses have gone up a little bit. Daycare is very expensive. So we've had to cut back on the financial goals part to be able to put money towards, raising 2 kids. It's very expensive. But eventually that's going to be able to turn, because they're going to be out of daycare eventually, and we'll be able to push that back towards wealth generating activities for the future. So if you don't feel like you have enough money right now to be able to do something like that, I would look at increasing your income, because while we're talking about like realigning the money that we already have, at the end of the day, increasing our income is the best way to increase our assets, right? Because if we're making more and we don't let lifestyle creep set in, then we are going to be very successful. So side hustling a skill, like how can you provide more value to a certain amount of people? How can you solve a problem and get paid for it? Really anything that increases what you earn, even an extra, like if it's $500 or $1,000 a month that you are hustling for, and then you put it towards building your wealth, like that is pretty significant. It changes everything. And that extra money just goes right into your money system that you're going to be created. So that was the 5-step, guys. If you want to jumpstart your finances this year, I recommend checking out the 6-week 1K money challenge. I'm going to link the video right here for more information if you're interested, and I'll see you in the next one.